The Disappearance of Brandon Swanson, USA, 2008. Midnight, a lonely stretch of rural Minnesota roads. A 19-year-old college student calls his parents, his voice calm, his words reassuring. His car is stuck, but he's fine. He promises he'll walk to safety. His parents stay on the phone, guiding him through the dark until a sudden gasp, a shout, and then silence. The line goes dead, and Brandon Swanson is never seen again. This isn't just a disappearance. It's one of America's most chilling modern mysteries, a case that haunts investigators, torments his family, and terrifies anyone who's ever driven alone at night. This is the disappearance of Brandon Swanson. Who was Brandon Swanson? Brandon Victor Swanson was born on March 17, 1989, in the small town of Marshall, Minnesota. Friends describe him as bright, cheerful, and deeply close to his family. At 19, Brandon was a college student studying wind energy technology. He had his whole future ahead of him. May 13, 2008 began like any other day. Classes had ended. Like many college kids, Brandon decided to celebrate. Brandon spent the evening celebrating the end of the semester with friends in the nearby town of Lynn. Just a short drive, 30 miles or so, from his home. Yes, he had been drinking, but multiple witnesses confirm he didn't appear intoxicated, not stumbling, not slurring. He was simply a 19-year-old enjoying the end of the school year. The night was full of laughter, casual drinks, and friendly goodbyes. Nothing out of the ordinary. But just after midnight, Brandon got in his green Chevy Lumina to head home. What happened next turned a routine drive into a nightmare. That was the last time anyone saw him alive. The last call, Highway 68 runs straight from Canby to Marshall. Brandon knew that road well, but that night he didn't take it. Instead, he chose the gravel back roads. Why? Likely because he'd been drinking and wanted to avoid police. But those roads were pitch black, twisting, and dangerous. At around 1:15 a.m., Brandon's car slipped off the path into a shallow ditch. The car wasn't damaged. Brandon wasn't hurt, but the vehicle was stuck. Frustrated but calm, Brandon pulled out his phone and began calling friends. No one answered. It was nearly 2 in the morning. At 1:54 a.m., Brandon called his parents. His voice was steady. He explained that his car had gone off the road and was stuck in a ditch. He wasn't hurt. He wasn't panicked, just stranded. He told his parents he thought he was near Lynn, only a few miles away. Brian and Annette Swanson jumped into their truck and drove out to help their son, keeping him on the line. They flashed their headlights asking Brandon to do the same, but nothing. No lights, no sign of him. It was as if they were in two different worlds. Frustration crept in. Brandon's tone grew tense. At one point, he hung up on his mom. Moments later, he called back, apologizing. He then told them he'd leave his car behind and walk toward what he believed was Lynn. His father, Brian, stayed on the line. For almost an hour, father and son spoke as Brandon walked through the dark. He described fences, fields, and gravel roads. At times, he said he could see the faint glow of town lights in the distance. Everything seemed under control. But then, at 3:10 a.m., Brandon suddenly exclaimed, "Oh shit!" The phone went silent. The line disconnected. Brian tried calling back again and again. No answer. Brandon was gone. The immediate search. At first, the police didn't take the call seriously. Brandon was 19, legally an adult. Maybe he stayed out. Maybe he just didn't want to be found. But his parents knew something was wrong. At 6:30 a.m., Annette called the Lyon County Sheriff's Office and begged them to search. By that afternoon, Brandon's car was found, but not where he thought he was, not near Lynn. Instead, it sat abandoned in a field approach near the border of Lyon and Lincoln counties, more than 20 miles away. The car wasn't damaged, no signs of foul play, No footprints, no struggle, just a stranded car and a vanished boy. The river theory search dogs picked up Brandon's scent, leading to the banks of the Yellow Medicine River. At that time, the river was swollen, muddy, fast, and treacherous. Authorities feared the worst. Did Brandon fall in? For weeks, divers scoured the waters. Volunteers searched fields and farmland. Planes and helicopters scanned from above. But nothing. No body, no clothing, no phone. And strangely, Brandon's cell phone rang for 2 days after he vanished. Calls went to voicemail, but the phone was still active. If he had drowned, wouldn't the phone have been destroyed almost instantly? The mystery deepened. What do you think? Was Brandon swallowed by the river? Or does the ringing phone suggest something darker, something human? Could someone have been with him in those final moments? Drop your theory in the comments below, because this mystery has no easy answers. The endless searches. Over the years, hundreds of volunteers have combed the countryside. Cadaver dogs later picked up a scent near Mud Creek, just miles from where the car was found. Search teams returned year after year, slogging through mud, fields, and rivers. Yet still, no remains, no trace. By 2011, the search had spanned thousands of hours, with professional handlers leading canines across every farm and creek bed. Brandon's parents, heartbroken but determined, became advocates for change. They pushed for a law requiring quicker responses in missing adult cases. That law, known as Brandon's Law, passed in Minnesota in 2009, ensuring that families would never again face the same delays they did. Theories and haunting questions. So what really happened to Brandon Swanson? There are several theories. Accidental drowning. Perhaps Brandon fell into the Yellow Medicine River or Mud Creek. But nobody has surfaced, despite years of searching. Disorientation and exposure. Brandon may have wandered off, confused by the dark and exhausted. He could have collapsed in an unsearched spot, hidden by tall grass or farmland terrain. Foul play. Some whisper of strangers, opportunistic killers, or even people Brandon may have accidentally crossed paths with that night. But investigators have no suspects, no witnesses, and no evidence. Wildlife encounter. Minnesota farmland is home to coyotes, wild dogs, and dangerous terrain. Could Brandon's last words, his sudden shout, have been the moment of a fall, or something more sinister? Every theory raises more questions than it answers. A family's nightmare. For Brian and Annette Swanson, the worst part isn't just not knowing where their son is. It's replaying that final phone call, hearing his voice, hearing his last words, knowing they were so close, yet powerless to save him. Annette once said, "It's like he just evaporated into the night. 1 minute we were talking, and the next, nothing." The chilling reality is that Brandon's disappearance remains unsolved to this day. No body, no evidence, just silence. May 14th, 2008. A 19-year-old college student walks into the night and simply vanishes. His last word, a terrified exclamation, still echoes like a ghost across the Minnesota fields. Brandon Swanson's story isn't just a disappearance. It's a reminder of how quickly the ordinary can twist into the unthinkable. A mystery that lingers, unsolved, for more than 15 years. What do you believe happened that night? Did Brandon stumble into the river? Did he meet with foul play? Or is there another answer no one has considered? Share your thoughts below. We read every theory. And if you want more chilling cases like this one, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another dark mystery. Until next time, stay safe, because sometimes the night hides more than shadows.